Hello, hello, hello. I really see a couple of you testing your different sound equipment. We've got a few minutes to go. So this is an awesome time. Yes, Cecilia, there was no sound because we haven't started yet. So this is your chance to try your speakers, get your earphones. We'll be starting on the hour, which is when it started, so we can let everybody join it. It's so great to see you all connecting in now. So turn on your speakers, increase your volume, and shut off other programs. This is so important that, just don't have any other program shut down. Don't have Facebook on, shut down your email. Not only does this let you be fully present so that you can really, get all the training, it also is going to significantly help you with your bandwidth. So if you've got any challenges with bandwidth, shut down other programs. This is such a key thing. We have been led to believe that multitasking is great, but actually it's not. It robs us of being present and so really getting value. So I encourage you to just truly choose to be here. We're going to be on for the next 90 minutes. I'm going to be opening to your questions. So give yourself this gift of really allowing yourself to be supported and get this training. Great. So you should be testing. You should be hearing me now. You should be seeing a slide. And if you can't hear anything, you can reboot, reconnect. Okay, so this is so awesome to see so many of you here. Wow, wow, wow. We've got people from all over the world. This is one of the things that I just so love about money. It's absolutely universal. So no matter whether you're in Australia or South Africa or Guyana or France or Canada or the US or UK or in South America or Japan, the same principles apply whether you're creating stock market assets, property assets, whether you're blitzing your debt, whether you're creating residual or passive businesses, it all applies. And now with this amazing thing called the internet, there's never been better time than ever. So we've got Adrian from Ballina in Australia. I've been to Ballina, Adrian. From Melbourne, I was there just a few months ago in Melbourne, Christine. We've got Johannesburg and Cape Town, and we've got Zanine. Well, one of the charities that I support, the Small Enterprise Foundation, which helps pro-poor women start businesses, is based out of Zanine, Megan, so a beautiful part of the world. And we've got Hong Kong. Elise, so great to have you. I lived in Hong Kong for 6 years. What a place. We've got the UK and Sam in Belgium and Bianca and Wales from Amanda and Hazy View and Cairns in Australia and Greece, Anna, sunny Greece. This is so cool. Okay, so we are going to be getting started right now. So let me say a little big hello to you all. Here I am, and this is such a joy to be with you today. So as many of you have already discovered, there's a chat facility, so you can type in questions as we go, and I highly recommend you take copious notes because it's with this that we really are able to lock in our learning by taking notes, being really present. And any questions you have, you can type in that chat facility, and this is going to help you get really, clarity, and then we're going to be opening lines so I can answer your questions. So I'm going to be using slides for this. So you've got multiple modality. So remember, cut off that bandwidth, and let's dive in. Let's dive in so we can get this started and happening. So here we are. You are on the live training, which is all about creating your roadmap to financial freedom. And at the moment, you can see me down in that little bottom corner here, but I'm going to be switching that off as well, just so that your bandwidth, you really can get support on this and get clarity. Okie dokie. So let's dive right in, because over the next 90 minutes, my promise to you is that you're going to really know by the end of these 90 minutes how to get from exactly where you are right now to your financial freedom. This is even if you're currently in debt, whether you're struggling to make ends meet, maybe you believe you're not good with numbers, maybe you've already got, you're really ready to get your money working and invest, and you've got a little bit set aside, but you're terrified of making a mistake and getting it wrong, and this is preventing you from getting those juicy assets working for you. Maybe you've already got some investments, but you don't really have a concrete plan, and you don't know how they're performing, whether they're actually performing, is it enough, and whether what you're doing is going to create your freedom. And maybe you've made some poor financial decisions in the past and you just feel shame or guilty, or you now doubt yourself, and this can be so crippling. So no matter where you're starting from, you absolutely will know that by the end of this 90 minutes, you're going to know the truth about financial freedom, what it is and how to create it. You're also going to understand why you aren't already financially free. And this is so key, because if we don't understand what in the past has prevented us from creating this, we then just take that through with us into our future. Then you're going to clearly know the difference between earned income, that's where you go out and exchange your life force for it, and asset-generated income. And you're going to learn how to move from the one to the other, because this is the key pivot point that creates your freedom. And then I'm going to walk you through, quite literally, the step-by-step roadmap. So there's 6 core steps that you need to be taking in your roadmap to financial freedom, so you can start designing this and putting it in your life. And then I'm going to hand you your game plan for your financial freedom and the next step so that you can get started today. So let's uncover the truth about financial freedom. What actually is it? The great news is financial freedom is available to every single person on this masterclass, no matter what your starting point is. And it's also never too late to create your own financial freedom. I hear so many people going, Anne, I think I've left it too late. And this is so tragic, because this is a lie that we've been told, that somehow our dreams have an expiry date. They don't. It is important that we use time on our side, but it's never too late to get started. And also, the third thing we really need to bust through is creating your freedom does not mean suffering or living in the poorhouse as you go along the journey. That is not freedom. Creating your financial freedom is about being able to express and live your richest, juicy life now. So any deprivation is certainly not what we're about. Now, the bad news, this is no quick fix. There is no silver bullet or a shortcut, or I sometimes call it that money frog that doesn't turn into the prince that's going to come and rescue you. So if you're here today looking for some quick trading thing or some miracle solution that magically is going to make you millions overnight and you're going to be rescued, and you're looking for like a ka-ching lottery win, then I can save you a lot of time. You can disconnect now, because that's not what it's about. But, joking aside, it's really important to understand that creating sustainable financial freedom is learning how to invest and create assets that work and earn for you. And the basic strategy is that you've really got to start by looking at your money flow. You've got to get into a place where you are consuming less than you earn. So you spend less than you earn, so that there's this differential, there's this surplus that you can start converting into assets, and you can start really transforming the direction. Now, this is what you then invest and create these assets, but you also create assets through knowledge and skills. So it's really also important to understand that saving is very different from investing, and we're going to go deep into that, and you're really going to understand that by the end of this webinar. So back to this good news. What is really important, you might go, but Anne, that sounds, but that's hard. Well, actually, I think you're going to discover, and you're going to know by the end of this, that it is way easier than you may have thought. And I'm going to show you how. So why aren't you already financially free? This is really key, because we've got to understand that there's 2 big factors. There's 2 things that actually are the things that keep most people away from their freedom. Because the terrifying statistic is less than 5% of the population in developed and developing worlds ever achieve this thing called financial freedom. They never become financially free. So the first primary reason is, it could be because you believe that the way to become financially free is about making more money. This is a most insidious trap. And this is what you've thought in the past. Don't worry, you're not alone. Because that's in fact what we're taught. We're taught that we need to work hard for money. We need to, earn more. We need to get better skills, get a better job, get another contract, build that business, always focusing on income. But that is not how you create your freedom. The second thing that keeps people trapped is that financial freedom has been some airy-fairy sort of vague concept. And, when you have just this vague sort of thought, feeling, maybe, not even that, it's really hard to put any concrete actionable plan if you don't even know what you're aiming for. So, those are the 2 real big barriers that prevent you even starting this journey. So do either of these relate? Now let me know in those comments which of those is more true for you. In the past, have you thought that achieving your financial freedom was about working harder and earning more money? Or maybe you haven't achieved financial freedom yet because it was a really vague concept. You didn't even know that, one, it was available for you, two, you didn't have a plan around it. Or maybe it was both of those things, because quite frankly, that's certainly what it was for me and for the thousands of people that I now get to work with. But usually it's both of those concepts. So what is this really about and why are we here? Financial freedom is about buying back your time. The reality is what all of us are wanting is more freedom of our time to be able to use our time in the way that we want. Each of us have only got a fixed amount of time in this lifetime. None of us get more time. So time to spend with our families, time on our hobbies, time on the things that juice us and fill us up. Because at the end of the day, this is what we really wanted to experience, more of life's joys, to connect with people, to have fun. And that's what we're aiming for. Choosing to master your money, choosing to create financial freedom, choosing to have assets that earn all the income for you is to enable you to have more freedom around your time. And this is really key when we get to understand this. When you master your money stuff, when you have all this passive income flowing into your life, it's absolutely fantastic because, it allows you to step into a bigger version for yourself, a bigger, more fulfilled lifestyle. It's about creating a bigger impact in the world. And this is so important because I truly don't believe any of us are only here just to have a big pile of money, nor are we here just to have more stuff. Now, please, I want to really get to you. I'm absolutely all about having nice things. And I think it's so important that we've got to understand our very first step in our journey to financial freedom is ensuring that all of our primary needs are met, so that we have that certainty and confidence that we're always going to have a roof over our head. We're always going to have more than enough food than we need. We're going to be able to have safety and security for ourselves and those we love. This is that first core base that we set up. Then we need to ensure that we have time and flexibility and some money to direct to the things that juice us, to be able to read that book, travel some more, have experiences. It's then being able to express our creativity and do more of that. And then as we ripple out and we know that we're in that space, we are then able to express our extraordinary authentic self and really discover who we are, free of that anxiety and worry and stress and limiting ourselves because who we believe we need to be in order to be saved or earn money. And this is when we're able to contribute more and make an impact in a bigger way. This is all about freedom of choice, freedom of who you get to spend your time with, freedom of choice to where you direct your life force, freedom to be with who you want, when you want, where you want, freedom to not have to put up with a shitty boss or co-workers or go and be in an environment that doesn't serve you. And the ultimate freedom, I truly believe, why you're on this, because I know the type of people that choose to work with me and who I get to support on this journey. It's that freedom to actually live your life purpose, really get to understand who you are and bring more of that out into the world. Because when you're free from worrying about money, you're able to experiment and play and test and see who you really are and what it is that you can do in the world. So that is why I believe we're here and what's really about. So if that sounds like you, let me know. Yes, that is why you're here in those comments, just so I know we're engaged and we're listening. And it's about you getting to express the highest version of yourself and have a ball. We're meant to play in this amazing thing called life. So, this might sound really nuts, but it's not. When I was growing up, and I started that journey, I had this vague sense of this freedom that might have been available, that there was this place where I'd be able to claim authority over my own existence, over my own life. But it just felt so out there. Growing up, when people say to me, wait until you're growing up, that thing like, just wait until you're grown up. Usually when you express some dream or desire, I think, oh, you know what, maybe being grown up or being an adult meant that I could no longer have my dreams. It meant putting those dreams in the bottom of the drawer. Maybe you can really relate. Maybe there's some dreams that you've had that you put in a bottom drawer and thought, gee, maybe it's just not available because you can't afford it or there isn't the money available. Now that I've created my own financial freedom and I've worked with thousands and thousands of others to help them create their freedom too, I know with every fiber of my being that this absolutely isn't crazy. And I know by the end of this training session and what I'm showing you, when you've got these 6 steps and you know your game plan to take us forward, you're going to know that it's not so crazy at all. And in fact, it's really, really achievable. It's almost crazy, reasonable when you actually start understanding how money works. The truth is, we're not taught this stuff at school. We're not taught how to create wealth. We're taught how to earn money, and they are very, very different things. Our financial institutions have a vested interest in keeping us ignorant. And, in that way, they can sell us poor quality investment products. And from those, they can earn a lot of money from us by us being ignorant. And I'm going to show you some examples of what happens with just a little bit of knowledge, not about putting more money in, but just a little bit of knowledge and how you can transform that. And so you're going to discover very soon that actually what is crazy is not learning this stuff. And I'm going to show you some of the members of the Wealth Chef community and Financial Freedom University and what they've done. Just as a sort of sense, because they too, when they started this journey, thought that maybe they were crazy to even believe that this is possible for them. So let's take Sina. Sina was working as a laboratory worker. She had trained in food laboratory, and she was working in Durban in South Africa. And she was single. And she honestly believed that was effectively her lot, that she would be working to maybe her mid-60s. And hopefully at that point, she would have enough money stashed away that she would be able to do maybe a few fun things. Hopefully she still had energy and her health available to her. But that's all she knew. That was all she knew from everybody around her. Growing up, that's what she had been told, was she had to work hard. And so she did. She worked hard. She earned money. She put a little bit into some retirement savings, but that was all she knew. Well, when she started Financial Freedom University, her whole life transformed. She shared with me it was like, blinkers coming off, that there's this whole new world, and that just completely inspired her. And well, Sina just inspired me with taking inspired action. And she started investing and put in place her automated stock market investing portfolio. She got going in investment property. She also started Bitcoin mining and understanding cryptocurrencies. And I think it was about 16 months after she joined Financial Freedom University, she was able to leave her day job. She never ever dreamed that was ever possible for her, and that's what she was able to do. She was actually able to leave this job where she shared with me there weren't even windows that she could see outside, and that is what learning about this whole asset generated income and how to focus and build and give leadership to money was all about. And then Andrea shared that, when she started off, she had £2,000. So Andrea's in the United Kingdom, in the UK, and she said this was in her ISAs. That's an individual savings account. So now in every country, whether you're in Australia or Canada or the UK or South Africa, you have different tax-efficient pots. And it's so important you learn about these, but we'll go more into that a little bit later. So what she's talking about, that ISA is one of her tax-efficient pots. But because she was ignorant and hadn't been taught about it, she wasn't using this effectively. So she just had this little bit of money slushing around in it, doing nothing. So she started mastering her money stuff and really understanding how to direct it. She said she did it. Her money dates a year later, and her net worth had increased to 3.5Ks, not much. But she said she had just done her monthly money date and she had reached over 50,000 in net worth. So she grew her net worth from 2,000 to 50,000. And she said, what a difference a year can make and how far I've come in my attitudes and beliefs towards financial freedom. And this is what happens because as you start taking inspired action, you start seeing the transformation that it makes in your life. Cool. Okie dokie. Some of you are asking that I don't go so quickly through the slides. So listen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send all of you that stay until the end, I'm going to send you the slides because we've got a lot to cover. So trust that you're going to get this. Trust that you're receiving everything you need and you're going to get this. But I really want to honor your time and make sure you get what you came here for. So trust that you're going to get everything you need. And I'm going to send everybody who stays until the end a gift in the form of all of these slides. Okay, so Catherine shared that FFU changed her life. And she said, I'm not yet technically financially free in the way that you normally understand. She says because she can't yet live with her assets and she doesn't yet have the full choice to stop working for money. But she is free from anxiety and stress and worry about money. And this is so important because this is what happened as soon as you have your own unique plan. You understand the components, these steps that go into it, and you know how to create it. This is what happens. You free yourself from that worry and that anxiety, that 3 o'clock in the morning waking up wondering whether you're going to be okay, whether you're going to be safe and sound in your old age, whether those you love are going to be okay, whether you're ever going to be able to really do the things that juice you. And so Catherine shared that this is what happened for her when she had that plan in place. It just gave her that huge peace of mind. And also she was able to enjoy her money so much more because she knew she also had money allocated to things that were fun now. And so she freed herself up from guilt or worry or stress about when she spent money or when she didn't, which happens to so many people. Sort of get paralyzed whether you're damned if you do, damned if you don't around this money stuff. So I'm sharing this all with you to show you that absolutely it's not crazy for you to believe that you can create financial freedom. In fact, it's guaranteed that you can. And as I said, if you stay down to the end, I'm going to share with you all of these slides. Plus, I've got another gift for you as well. So, who am I to talk to you about financial freedom? Well, if this is the first time you've met me, my name is Anne Wilson, and I'm creator of the company The Wealth Chef and author of the Hay House published book, The Wealth Chef itself. And I think what's most important right here is I've been financially free for 12 years and I've remained free during that time. So it's not like I've just suddenly popped out and, hey, I made a bit of money on some flash in the pan thing and now I'm teaching you some get rich quick scheme. Not at all. And as I've said before, this is not what it's about. I've learned how to create assets and manage my money in a way that my assets can just keep earning me money indefinitely and they earn me all the money that I need to live the lifestyle I desire. But it didn't start that way. My original plan for financial freedom, although I didn't even know what that really was I just thought I had to work hard and make loads of sacrifices. I grew up in a very traditional family. Dad worked, mum looked after the kids, and I was actually number 5 of 6 kids. And we didn't talk much about money, except that money didn't grow on trees, and that I was really taught about not being greedy, not being selfish, that in a way, my desires, I had to really control them because somehow they would come at a cost to others. And so the only clear message I got about money was that it was quite confusing and it was something you had to really struggle for and work hard in order to have. And then in my early 20s, my father died and I got to watch my mum, who had spent her whole life looking after these 6 kids, really in a tough position, wondering how she was going to make ends meet, how she was going to manage that money day to day, because quite frankly, she had just let my father look after that stuff, as I've seen so many women do, because there's still some sort of barrier. We've come so far as women, but there's still something around money after a situation that creates that. Okay. Cool. So it sounds like there's some scratching or noise going on. I'm just going to see what's happening with the sound. Some of you are just saying there's some challenges going on with sound. Okay. A scratching noise. I'm not sure what's going on for me. Okay, scratching distortion. Yeah, I'm wondering if somebody else is not on mute. I'm going to see what's going on. Okie dokie. Can just somebody let me know, Diana or somebody? My mic isn't running on my close, so we're just going to see. Can somebody just tell me whether the scratching is still happening? Really strange. Okay. Patient says you can't hear a thing. It's better now. It's better now. It's your earpiece mic, Anne. Okay. So let's see what's going to happen, whether this improves things. Okay. Let's see if that makes anything better. Let me know. More scratchy when you change over slides. Okay. It's better now. Clear. Okay. Sorry about that. So I'm glad we caught that early as we're getting in place. Okay, so what I was sharing with you, so in this position, I really got to see that not only was my mum completely ignorant about money, and there was this deep anxiety and worry because she had no idea how to manage the money, but also how to make sure that the small pot she had would actually stay and last. And she, I know this is going to sound almost barbaric, but because it is, she really hoped that she would run out before the money did. And I looked around and so many other people were in the same situation. I realized that so many women were in this situation, but not just women, men as well, either from divorce, or they'd never been married, or from something, they'd just always been looking after somebody else. And so now we're in a situation where they didn't have assets earning for them, and really worried about this thing. But the worst part as well is I had no idea how to help my mum either. I had no idea who she could trust or who she could turn to at all. And so it was at this point I just vowed that I never wanted to be that vulnerable and afraid. And I thought, no, I'm going to work damn hard and I'm going to earn that money, and then I'm going to feel safe and sound. And so what I did, I went and trained as a civil engineer because I saw men making money. So I thought, that must be the way it is. If I get a good job, then I'll be okay. And I dashed off. And you can read more of my journey in the Wealth Chef book. But, long story short, is that I ended up going into a big debt hole. When I was earning money, I didn't understand what to do with it once I'd earned it. And again, my ignorance just took me further away from my freedom and not forward. So this is really the challenge that so many of us face, is our ignorance can take us really backwards, and it's not about earning money. Okay, so then I managed to climb out of that debt hole. And I thought, okay, if I could just deprive myself, if I could scrimp and save and spend as little as I could, then hopefully I'll be okay at some time in the future. And then, hopefully I'll be okay in my life. But the reality is it all blew up in a big, messy money drama. And after 10 years working as an engineer, I was at that stage working in Hong Kong. I'd been holding onto this money and trying to save and scrimp and deprive myself. My marriage fell apart, and all with money arguments and fights, and everything was about what we couldn't do. And also I had no plan or idea about how much was enough or when we'd get there. So it was really a sense of hopelessness. And then I was allowed to, actually get on with living my life. And so my marriage and the money that I held on to walked out that door, and I found myself newly divorced, alone in a foreign country. And I was really deeply anxious about my own financial well-being. And I felt really ashamed. I thought that somehow I should know better. And I didn't understand how I got it so wrong. And I thought, I should know this stuff. And maybe there was something wrong with me. But after I stopped feeling sort of sorry for myself, and I realized that actually it's my responsibility to make sure I'm safe and sound, that I can really master this money stuff. And I thought, what, maybe this is something I can learn. And it's only up to me. I'm the only one that can guarantee my own financial well-being. And so that's exactly what I committed to do. I really dug deep, and I realized that I didn't understand how money worked. I'd only been taught how to earn it and actually how to spend it, get it out of my life, but not what to do with it once it came into my life, to make sure that more of it stayed in my life, to make sure that I knew how to convert it into assets, how to invest it, how to grow it, how to protect it and look after it. So I decided I just had to find a new way. So first off, I actually went and found a training program on how to invest. And I'd heard about this thing called the stock market. I'd also heard about investment property, but I knew nothing about it at all. And I realized, well, actually, surely, if I don't know something about it, I actually have to learn. And I'm going to learn if I consciously, take myself to that place where I can learn. And that's what I did. And it was actually quite frightening because I spent it was almost 1.5 times my salary at the time. And I thought, oh my God, am I being silly? Maybe I should do this. But I knew I had to do something different if I wanted a different result. And so I then set off on that journey, learning about investing, learning how to manage my money. But I also made a huge commitment. I made a commitment that I was no longer going to wait to experience life, to have fun, to play. No matter what I did, I was taking a stand for me and for life and because I knew scrimping and saving wasn't the solution. So I absolutely committed to creating my financial freedom and master this money stuff, and I absolutely did. And I achieved my freedom within just 8 years from that low point. And I'm going to show you the steps that I took in this training. I'm so passionate about sharing this with others, and that's why I do what I do now. It's why I created the Wealth Chef, because I see that what it enabled me to do as an expression of my life. And having financial freedom enables me to live my purpose. And I know that the more people I can help liberate around their own money stuff, the better the world's going to be, because we need more and more big-hearted change makers that no longer operating from fear and contraction, anxiety and worry, but instead are able to go out there and live their full life. My book, The Wealth Chef, has now sold over 43,000 copies, and I just get emails and messages almost every day thanking me for just how this knowledge has transformed their life. In the last 6 years, my students have accumulated over $500 million in assets. I use the word dollars, but they are from Australia, from South Africa, from the UK, from Canada, from the US, from France, from Spain, from Holland, from Brazil, from Japan. And together they've eliminated over $2 million in debts. They've created literally thousands of different passive income streams that makes money flow into their lives without them having to do any of that work. And I just feel so grateful that I'm able to do this and had that commitment when I did. So that's the thing. The moment when I finally committed to financial freedom, that's when it all changed. When, I was alone and broke and feeling really ashamed and alone and in that low point, I needed to make that commitment to me, to life. And this is so important, that we have to commit to this journey. I knew that continuing to do what I was doing was not the solution. And I had to find another way. The reality is you must commit. You can't just hope for financial freedom. You have to claim it. Hope is great if you're floundering around at sea. If you've been shipwrecked, it gives you something literally to hold on to. But it's a disastrous as a financial plan. You can't just hope it's all going to somehow be okay and that something's going to magically happen. You have to claim it. You've got to make that decision and commit to your freedom. Right now, I'd love you to claim your freedom. Just type "I commit" in the chat box and really, know that that is what you're doing. You're committing to your freedom right now, and that you're committing to follow through with committed action. And this is when we start to see change. Just working harder, trying to earn more is absolutely no guarantee for financial freedom. I'm sure you know many extraordinary people who've worked hard all their lives, but they've got nothing to show for it. Creating financial freedom has got nothing to do with working harder. Fantastic. I just see all of you committing. I know time will work for or against you on this journey. The beauty is you get to choose. And the sooner you start, the sooner you get time working for you, that it's never too late to start. But there's no time to delay and not start this journey. Because every day you delay getting on track, then your freedom is costing you dearly. So it's great to see all of you committing. This is so important. There's something happens when we make a promise, not only to ourselves, but to other people, just like you are now. You're making a public commitment because it triggers something inside of us, a momentum that we follow through and breaks through this inertia. Ulysses, 2,000 years ago, actually called this the Ulyssean contract. And that's what you're busy creating now, a Ulyssean contract, because he knew that when we actually state something publicly right now, like you're doing, and you commit to others that you're actually going to do whatever it takes to achieve, your probability of following through is significantly higher when we take action, when we do the things, when we actually create the results that we want. So well done for committing. It is so important that you commit even when you don't know how, because then it makes sure that you then learn the how and go forward. So let's get stuck into your roadmap so you learn the how now that you've made that commitment. So why you must commit now is, as I've said, this Ulyssean contract, but it's really important to know that tomorrow is not an option because tomorrow never comes. And so often people defer the things that are really important for them because they get stuck in the urgent. They go, maybe next week, maybe next year. So well done to all of you to making this really, really important. You might be thinking, Anne, this is all good and well. I commit, but what actually am I committing to? What is financial freedom? So let's create your game plan right now. The very first step is you need to know how much money you need to be financially free, because you cannot start a journey. You cannot hit a destination if you don't know where that destination is. So this is the very, very first step you've got to do, which is get clear on what financially free is for you and how much money you need in order to be financially free. So this is how much dosh do you need stashed away so that you can stop working. So I want you to think right now, how much money do you believe you need to have so that you could stop working and never have to work a day in your life and you'd have all of the money you need? So you can either type that, money in, that amount of money in the chat box, or you can just think of it in your head. Now, do you think that you need $1 million US dollars or the equivalent, whatever is your currency, in order for you to be financially free? So, just look at that. So if you think it's more than $1 million or somewhere around $1 million, you can just type in by yes. And maybe you're thinking, well, Anne, I don't even know how much I need, and that's stressing you out. Well, that's great. And that's why this is step one, getting clarity. In Financial Freedom University, we define financial freedom as when you've got enough assets that can pay for your desired lifestyle so that you don't have to work actively. That is what freedom is about. It's about when you've got assets earn you the income, so it frees you up to do whatever you like, whenever you like. So yeah, Mariska said, no idea. And that is why you've never been able to start this journey, because if you've never had a target, how do you know? So Lisa said $36 million. Okay, so let's get to see what you actually need. So we're going to start and say, how much would you need to invest to have a monthly passive income, an asset-generated income of $2,166. Now you might be going, and that's a bit of a random number. Why, $2,166 US dollars? I'm starting there because that is actually the national average income in the USA. And so you might go, oh, well, I'm in Australia, or I'm in the UK, or I'm in Belgium, or I'm in South Africa. So why are we using that? Because one of the big things, people often get stuck about what their own currency is. And I know in a lot of developed worlds like India and Brazil and South Africa and China, where we have, say, weaker currencies, in inverted commas, people can get stuck on going, oh, but, it's really expensive and I need, these millions and millions. So what's really important here is let's not get stuck on your currency, but start understanding value. So now, if you wanted to have a monthly passive income, and this is income coming in, and say whether you choose to get out of the bath, whether you choose to get out of bed, whatever it is, how much money or what's the value of assets would you need so that you could have that indefinitely? And, this is so important that we also start with something, would that feel like a bit of freedom? So, drum roll. In order to earn an income of $2,166, you would need net assets of $325,000 US dollars. How does that look? Does that feel a little bit achievable? So this is having $325,000 US dollars worth of assets invested at 8%. Now I use 8% because when you're in Financial Freedom University, you're going to realize that you can get your assets working for you in the mid-teens and up to the 20% very easily. In fact, for the last 22 years, since I've been learning investing, since I've bought my first training course on how to invest in the stock market, I've averaged over 20% per annum rate of return on my investments year in, year out. And in Financial Freedom University, you're going to see that actually a 12 to 15% across all of your assets is very, very achievable. If that's like feeling crazy to you right now, that is great. It's just because you've never been taught how to invest properly and create assets. And you might be stuck in a savings mentality thinking about, what's the interest you can get from the bank? There's a difference between saving and investing, a big difference. So we use 8% to work out your freedom target because I always prefer to underpromise and overdeliver in everything I do. And by working out this, So if you work out your freedom number on 8%, but you actually earn at 15%, then this factors in tax and inflation, so you don't get any nasty surprises down the line. And you can rest assured that that asset number that you're creating, that value, can actually give you the income that you're wanting. So let's say you're wanting to have $5,000 a month coming in without you having to work. How would that feel? Now remember, this is not for 1 month, this is not for 1 year, this is for the rest of your life once you've got assets earning you. Does that feel a little bit more like freedom? So if to have that in, you would need a net worth of $750,000 invested at 8%, and that would give you a monthly income of $5,000. So you see, we're not anywhere near getting that $1 million yet. Okay, so what about $10,000 a month? If you wanted that coming into you, being earned for you by your assets, how much would you need? Now we're starting to get into the $1 million territory. In order to have $10,000 flowing into your life passively without you having to do anything for it, you would need assets to the value of $1.5 million, earning 8%. So how is that feeling for you now? Okay, so this is really important. Maybe you're thinking, Anne, okay, I see that maybe I don't need $1 million. And I'm really much clearer now that if I'm wanting, maybe $5,000, $10,000, $2,500, I now get a sense of what is that pile of those assets. But maybe you feel, oh God, maybe your ignorance felt, overwhelming. And Charlotte's saying, that's much less than I expected to be. Absolutely. But maybe you're still feeling overwhelmed and you're going, and there's no way I can save up that amount of money. And that's because you don't yet fully understand investing. And so here is the great, great, great news. You don't create that amount of money. Elisa said it's impossible because the whole point is your assets earn that for you. And this is the big difference. When we have been so worked into believing that we've got to earn the money, it can seem completely overwhelming. In fact, of your financial freedom net worth and your freedom income, you are going to need to earn less and save less than 10% of that number. And the rest of it is created by knowledge and by your assets earning your assets for you. We're going to go into that a little bit deeper, but it's really important for you to understand that your assets earn you your freedom, not you. In fact, I really want you to write this down. Nobody saves their way to freedom. The only way you can create financial freedom is getting assets that earn your freedom for you. And this is when you learn the secret that's going to get your money working harder and harder and accelerate. Because now you've got step one, you understand the target. You also realize that that target, that freedom income and that net worth is created, earned for you by your assets. And that all you need to do is plant the seed and get that going. So assets create your freedom, not saving. So let me tell you a little story. And, there were, so I already, shared that with you. Your assets give you your freedom. So I want to share this little story with you. So there was a monkey and a bear and a squirrel, and they were sitting around together and they were having this great little natter. And in front of the monkey was this big pile of bananas, and in front of the bear, there was a big pile of berries, and in front of the squirrel, there was a big pile of acorns. Well, the monkey dived right in, and he was peeling those bananas and shoving them to his cheeks, and his mouth was filling up, and he was getting them down as fast as he could. And in no time at all the bananas were consumed. And he looked around the bear and the squirrel to see, pleading to see whether they would maybe give him some of theirs, and, was then looking at, where he's going to get his next meal from. Meanwhile, the bear knew that winter was coming, and so she put a few of those berries aside for winter so that she could eat them later when she knew there might be less coming, and she'd actually, knew she'd need to consume those later. So she saved some of those berries, but she then ate the rest of them. And that brought us to the squirrel. Now, you see, the squirrels, they did something entirely different. The squirrels, before eating their acorns, they take 20% of those acorns and they store them away. They start planting them in the ground and they put them into different pots and spots to use later. And then they live on the rest and have a juicy, amazing life. So the amazing thing is some of those acorns do get eaten later. They also hibernate and go through winter and dry seasons when there aren't any acorns. But many, many of those acorns, they get planted and they get to seed and sprout, and they get to release their potential, the potential of that acorn to become an oak tree. And that's what the squirrels learn to do, is learn to release the potential of that acorn. And those new oak trees around start earning and creating more acorns for them to feed off. So, I was just sharing the story the other day with a friend of mine who's got 2 young sons, and I asked them, which animal would you like to be? I would love to know in your chat, which animal do you want to be? And so the first boy said, no, he definitely wants to be the monkey. He just wants to eat all his bananas. After all, his mum will make sure he's got some bananas and he'll be okay. But the other son stopped and said, no, he definitely wants to be a squirrel. Because, then he'd have more acorns and he'd just always have acorns to eat with all the additional oak trees going. And then he went one step further. It was really amazing. He said, you know what? Not only will I have all the acorns I need, but I can just have fun and I can share them with other squirrel families and, my friends, and there's going to be more and more. But you know what? Those trees that I've planted, they're going to give oxygen to other people, and it's going to help save the earth and all the animals, and it's also going to give them, shade. So that's why I want to be a squirrel. And I'm so glad that so many of you are going to be squirrels too. And, this is just really great. He got it. He really understood why we need to choose to be great custodians of money, why we choose to plant assets and create them and release the potential of money rather than just consuming it. And this is the key step that we've got to do. And that's exactly what you thought you would do, and why you're here. Okay, so let's see where we're going. I don't know whether some of you are having some challenge with sound again. Hope not. Looks like we're still hearing me. Cool. So this is all about it. Understanding your destination and understanding that assets create your freedom, not you. Brilliant. And loads of you have chosen to be the squirrel. So now you go to step 2, and this is about taking stock. So many people want to dash off and create all of those assets, but actually you've got to take stock and determine where you are right now. But also you've got loads more than you think you do. So in this step, you understand that it's not just about making more money. We've got to break that cycle. It's about making more of what you've already got. And this step is about knowing where you are financially right now. You've got to be clear on what's happening in your money world so that you know where you're starting from. You've got your destination, but you've got to know where you're starting from, because that's how you can put your roadmap together. Your starting point plus your destination point. So when you're creating your freedom, it's also important to understand what was happening in your money flow patterns. There are 4 faulty money flow patterns, and it's really important for you to identify what was happening in your money world that got you to this point so that you can understand those faults and change them so that you can create financial freedom in your life. Plus, you also get to learn how to change those faulty money flow patterns, because there's no point in bringing more income in. There's no point in getting asset generated income if you've got faults in your money flow and it's just going to flow out and leak out the back end. So this is why we spend time in this step getting this baseline picture. So you know where your destination is, you know where you are right now, you know what your old patterns were and how to fix those, but also you uncover a whole lot of hidden assets and that are already in your life. And I want to share with you the story of Sarah, because this was so amazing. When she started FFU and she started at this step and just taking stock, she finally got out a folder and got out all the bits of policies and piece of paper that she'd been, putting money to, that she hadn't even looked at for years and years. And I find so many people do this because they're so busy focusing on trying to earn money, they don't actually ensure what they've already got in place. And so what she shared, that she tipped it all out and she started looking at it. And also because she now understood how to evaluate those assets and policies so that she could look at whether she'd transfer them or not and get better results for them. And she discovered £21,656. And she said there, in just that moment, her net worth took such a giant leap. And I found over and over and over, when we just stop and have a look, and we actually find that there's already massive gems. Now, you might not have £21,000 sitting in your pantry, but there are always gems and assets, and it's really important for us to take stock first. And then we move on to step number 3. It's about creating a surplus from your existing money. So this is where we start what I call squeezing the juice. And this basically means that you learn how to spend less than you earn so that you can invest the difference. And this is not about sucking out all the fun from your life and turning into a miserable penny pincher. Remember, I shared with you, I tried that on my journey and it absolutely doesn't work. But what this is about is mastering what I call conscious spending. So you can make every purchase count. You know, there's this extraordinary thing when we realize that our wealthy lives are actually created where we spend our money. Again, if we're so focused on trying to earn more, so many people neglect the space. And so money, one, flows out of their life without them getting value for it. But also, there's many, many leaks, and I call them rats in the pantry, where there's just unconscious expenditure. Maybe there's subscriptions you signed up to. Maybe there's things, direct debits, you not even know that is flowing out. And what's really important, we spend time in this step 3. Now, notice we're not even creating your assets yet, because this is about making sure you're really setting up your best foundation for you. And so you spend some time plugging those leaks and getting more value from your money, because here's a really important concept you need to understand. $1 saved is not equivalent to $1 earned. A penny saved is not the same as a penny earned. You know, there are so many of these euphemisms or connections that we are told about money, which quite frankly are lies, and they really, you know, mislead us. So what's so important here is to understand that, in fact, every amount of money that you save or no longer flows out your life and you stop it because it doesn't give you value, and you get that money to stay in your life, is actually closer to 8 or 10 times worth more than any income you earn. So that's why we take time in this step to really plug those leaks. Because not only for every dollar you earn, or rand or pound or euro, you've actually got to go out and earn that actively. So you're trading your life force for it. But when you earn it, you also get taxed on it. So even when you earn $1, you don't get to keep that. Now, when you spend that dollar, you lose its potential. It's that acorn. You don't get to grow that oak tree. So you lose all the potential money that dollar, that pound, that rand could have earned you. And this is where the real cost comes in. But also, the more expenses you've got going out, the more you need to earn. So it creates this vicious cycle of never being able to break that debt. So when we also spend some time in this back end, we also lighten the load, because when we can eliminate unnecessary expenses and actually liberate ourselves, the smaller amount of passive income you need. Remember, we worked out, you know, what is your freedom income? If you're making sure you get most value from your money, and so you need less to live that great quality life because you're being creative and you know how to create great juice in your life, then you need less asset generated income, so you get there quicker. And that's why we make this step number 3. It is really, really important. You know, you can say, well, you know, and yeah, you know, I get that, but you know, where do I start? So you start creating a surplus immediately, and this is really important. So here's a Welsh chef tip. Many people, when they create a budget, they start thinking that, you know, they've got to cut out their fun things. And many people first look at what's called their discretionary expenses. So those are the ones that you've got a choice over. And often it's your fun things, it's your entertainment, it's going out, the things that juice you. But you actually need to start with your fixed expenses, because that's where there's a lot of unconscious and expenditure and waste. So you need to go through and review all of your automated payments. These are direct debits. These are automated payments that are going off, subscriptions you might have, and really question each of them. Do you really need it? Are you getting value from it? And trust me, you'll be amazed at what you find just by doing that exercise. Then go and look at your other fixed expenses. Now, in some countries, you can switch utilities. You know, in the UK, in the US, and actually, in Australia, you can choose your different utility companies. And just by negotiating, just by calling up and finding out how to switch that, you can save yourself thousands. Get quotes regularly on all your insurances. And this is also really important. Understand what insurances you do and don't need. Switch to a better mortgage rate. Negotiate on your interest rates. Many people don't realize you can negotiate on car loans, on credit cards, on overdrafts. Reduce where compounding is working against you, and put into place your automated debt blitzing plan. Cancel subscriptions. Stop buying takeaways. You might go, oh, yeah, and I've heard this before. But why haven't you actioned it? One of the reasons is exactly what I've said. People think, oh, well, it's just a rand here, a dollar there, a euro here, a pound, because it doesn't seem sexy. But when you start truly understanding the potential of every seed and you put it in context of your freedom plan, because now you know what it is you need, and you understand that all you need to do is plant the seed, because then your assets create your freedom, then it becomes very sexy indeed. And you really start understanding that all those bits together come together. And so this is where you create the big results. You need to start creating that surplus. And then the key is you must invest those surplus into assets. Now, my members of FFU, Financial Freedom University, typically reduce their expenses by 15 to 20% when we get to this phase. And you might go, well, Anne, there's no way I can do that. Well, I challenge you, because I absolutely know there's an extraordinary power with a structured process of how you squeeze that juice. So, for example, this is Natalie. So Natalie is from South Africa. And she looked here, and Natalie, honestly, she was stuck in the mindset of going, oh, the rand is weak, I can't find anything, it's expensive. But she joined Financial Freedom University anyway, really knowing that they needed, her and her husband had a young son, and they needed to shift what they were doing if they were ever actually going to be able to create the lives they wanted. And almost within the very first month of starting FFU and this process, she had saved over $1,000 a month in saving. So she made that saving within the first month, plus that was a month-on-month saving. So that's $12,000 saving just in a year. But now that money could be redirected to her assets. And she did that by looking at her insurances, getting new quotes, and eliminating the insurances she didn't need, a big, big one. And by negotiating interest rates, huge. And now, then what she did with that in place, she put in place her structured debt blitzing plan, and within the next year, she saved a further $640,000 a month. So that's over $1,700 a month, US dollar equivalent. I say she was in rands, but in South Africa, but that was the equivalent amount, which now could go to her assets. So let's look, she saved almost $2,000, but let's look at what just $500 if you are able to liberate that a month and put that into assets, what it can do over 10 years instead of consuming it, but rather investing it. So now I'm using just a very, very easy to achieve 10% return. And so $500 put in a month over 10%, you would have put $60,000 in, but your money would have actually grown to almost $140,000, 139,000. And so now you can start seeing how I say your assets earn you your freedom, not you. Because look, the assets will have actually earned more than the money you put in. And this is how you start accelerating your time to freedom. Okay, so now we get to step number 4. You've got to get your assets working for you. And this is where you start creating assets in all 3 asset classes: the stock market, passive and income property. This is not your own home, and passive income businesses. And this is the sexy bit, but you need steps 1 to 3 in place before you go forward. And this is now you get your money working for you. And most people don't. They're so busy consuming their money, and they're so busy trying to earn more money that they never make time and make a commitment like you have to creating wealth and learning how to get assets working for them. And this is the difference between saving and investing. And you can also automate this, which is really important, because the point is you don't want another job. You want your assets earning you your money without you having to be involved. And you might say, but Anne, this is so scary. I'm scared of making a mistake. And I hear this over and over again. And unfortunately, ignorance is what really causes this fear. But the biggest tragedy is never learning how to create assets is the biggest risk. Because without assets, you can never, ever create your freedom. And what is really risky is just hoping that somehow your financial well-being is going to be taken care of. Please do not make something as important as your life just leave it up to hope. You've committed to take action, so do. Getting educated about investing and how to do it smartly is the smartest move you can make. So let's show you an example of what knowledge can do. So there's Nervous Nora. She gets $10,000, and in that place, she inherited it, or maybe Uncle Albert, but she had $10,000 to invest, and luckily she chose, okay, I'm going to invest. But she's really nervous about getting it wrong. So she goes off to a financial advisor, and that financial advisor puts her into this, expensive, and when I say expensive, I'm meaning costs, fees that go to the advisor and to the fund management company, and they put her $10,000 into actively managed funds. And over the next 25 years, those funds do grow, and they grow to $48,200. Okay. But now, this is what a bit of knowledge does. So members of Financial Freedom University understand that knowledge also creates their freedom. And by understanding what to invest in and how to strip away unnecessary costs, they absolutely significantly transform their results, and they can get 3 times more. And so here, educated Eva gets that same $10,000. And instead of just going off to financial advisor because she's scared, she's been terrified of getting it wrong, she puts it into these juicy things called index trackers, which are great low-cost investments which you can start with small amounts of money, and where the money works for you and not for an advisor or the financial industry. And it's still invested in the same underlying assets. Now, in the same 25-year period, no more money put in by educated Eva, but just knowledge and knowing what to invest in. Her money would have grown to $170,800 from that $48,000 from so many of the Noras in the world that unfortunately are trading away their freedom because they are too afraid to learn how to do it properly. And this is amazing, Ravi, because this is 120,000 more, not from any more money put in, not from taking any more risk. In fact, taking less risk, because the biggest risk is never learning the difference between an actively managed fund and an index tracker and how to get your money working for you in that way. And this is why so many people end up just having to earn harder and work harder because they never learn how to get their money working hard for them. So take Maxine. So when she joined Financial Freedom University, she's a single mom of 3 teenage kids. And in fact, she had been widowed, and she had this pot of money which was invested with a traditional financial advisor in actively managed funds when she started. And she knew she really had to look after that money and make sure it grew, because that's all she had for herself and to look after her kids. But with knowledge, she gained confidence, and she realized that actually not moving her investments, not taking responsibility for them was really, really super scary. And so what she did was she moved her investments over to index trackers, and in just the first year, she ended up getting a 19% return on those investments. This was 11% more than if she had left those funds where they were. And in just 1 year, this earned her $30,000 more. She earned £20,000 more than she would have if she hadn't got this knowledge. So that's not more knowledge. That's not more money, but that's knowledge that created this for her. Okay. And Lee said, she started this journey just working 60 hours a week, battling to cover her monthly expenses, just really believing she had to work harder. But by putting in these steps 1 to 4, she now is in a position where she's buying buy-to-let property, she's buying stocks and shares, and she's moving forward on passive income options. And she said the shift in the wealthy mindset has completely transformed her life. And so you see, it's never too late, but you can't wait. And this takes us to step number 5, turbocharging your journey. So once you've got those first steps in place, you now start to get these assets working harder for you by making sure that you reinvest all of the money that your assets earn. This is such an important step. Too many people rob themselves, and they don't allow the snowball effect to kick in, so that the money that your money earns goes on to earn more money for you. And this is how it grows and expands. And in no time, you achieve your freedom, because your assets have brought you your freedom, not you. Now, this is the step where you also learn how to create assets through knowledge and significantly increase your rates of return by getting double and triple returns on your money through being savvy and understanding things like expansion debt, leverage, how you can use other people's money, systems, processes, and tools to get these higher rates of return. Because the harder you can get your money working for you, the higher the rate of return, the shorter it's going to take you to get to your freedom. And this is the real secret sauce. This is the secret sauce that helped me create my financial freedom in just 8 years, from that dark, lonely, really fearful place where I didn't have a clue about investing. And I got there in just 8 years, and it will do actually the same for you. But it's really important that you get those first 4 steps in place before you start any of the acceleration strategies. So I want you to meet Tex. So Tex comes from South Africa, and Tex was really broken and caught in a situation where him and his wife Pinky, they both worked really hard, they both had great jobs, but they were looking after their parents and their extended family. They were also looking after their kids, and they had been caught into the cycle of believing that doing the right thing was, moving to a bigger house, getting a better car, because that was just the only thing they knew, and they thought they're wealthy, and they just moved to a new house. And with the increased expenses, they were finding that they were really struggling to get by, and they were worried about this. And so in that moment, they decided to join Financial Freedom University, knowing that they had to change the direction they were going if they wanted to ever create financial freedom. They couldn't just keep doing the same thing and hoping it'd be better. So they first got stuck in. They got to determine exactly what their destination is. They took stock to see what they already had in place. They had some retirement funding, some pensions, retirement annuities, which they liberate, and they could understand what they needed to do with it. So they took all stock. They also put in place their debt blitzing strategy so that they could automate that and get that in place. And they got to see that they could clear all of their debt and their mortgage in just 4 years by having a structured plan. They also put in place their automated stock market investing, just with small amounts of money, knowing that those assets would grow. And then Tex said, you know what, he wanted to now get a passive income business flowing for him. And he decided to look at vending machines. And he didn't have any spare money. But now, because he had the base in place, he understood that he could absolutely accelerate this. And he did. He bought his first vending machine using a credit card. Because he had done the numbers, he knew how to manage his money, he knew how to evaluate the deal, so he knew how to use this leverage strategy safely. And within, I think it was just 2 or 3 months, he was able to pay off the credit card by the profit being earned from the vending machine. So yes, they don't just spit out Cokes and chips and maybe the odd kale packet, but actually they are a fantastic low input passive income business. So now he owned that vending machine without any money of his own, and he used the profit for that. He knew he had to reinvest his investment returns, and he used that vending machine to buy his next vending machine. Then he had the 2 vending machines, which bought him his 3rd machine, and so on. And you can see the snowball effect. And Tex is on target to achieve a passively generated income being generated by his vending machines and not him, of $2,500 a month. And that is going to make a significant difference to him and Pinky's life, having that money coming in. And I say, he's in South Africa, so he's having that equivalent amount of money coming in. And it's not for 1 month, it's not for 1 year, but it's indefinitely. This just keeps going on, compounding. And this is what knowledge does. When you start understanding there are ways that you can have multiple streams of income coming in without you having to work, and that your freedom is so much closer to you. So now we get to step 6, and this is about staying the course. And this is so important because creating your freedom isn't just one ka-ching event. It's not about doing one thing and then hoping it's going to be okay. It's about creating consistent, wealthy habits that you integrate into your life, because money is something that's meant to support you, not enslave you. And going on this journey, it's about understanding how to be a great leader to your money and teaching it how to support you. Now, this is a long game, and you've got to surround yourself with people and resources and skills that are going to support you and keep you on track on this journey. Because it's very easy to start off, be really enthusiastic, you're all committed at the beginning to here, but if you don't have the environment to support you, then you absolutely go to go off track. And this is what's so important. And I think this is the difference that makes the difference. So what's possible for you with this know-how? Can you see now that it is possible for you to start reducing your expenses by 15 to 20% if you know where to look, if you know how to squeeze the juice, if you've got a systematic process? Hopefully you can, with the examples we've seen. Can you see that with the right guidance and training, you can then use that surplus to create assets, proper assets that can grow in value and generate income for you? And then you can see that by reinvesting that income, you can get more assets, and your assets buy your assets. And that's how you see that your freedom is created for you by your assets, not by you working harder. And then this is how every person on this webinar can become financially free by creating and putting these 6 steps into place. So now, you showed up today for a reason. You showed up today because you want financial freedom, but you aren't sure exactly where to start. Perhaps you showed up because you believe there's nothing spare right now and everything gets consumed day by day by your expenses. Perhaps you're ready to invest and create assets, but you're afraid of getting it wrong. Maybe you showed up today because you've got some investments, but you've got no idea how they're actually performing. Are they those horrible actively managed funds with making somebody else rich and making you poor? And you're not even sure whether what you're investing into them is going to be enough for you to have your freedom. Maybe you showed up today because freedom was some vague plan for you and you never knew what were the actual steps going. And perhaps you've got some debts that you're just consuming a lot of your income and stopping you from improving your lifestyle. And perhaps you wanted a comprehensive step-by-step plan to create your freedom. So I really hope that you're getting this one thing. No matter your current starting point, your past money decisions, your setbacks or your mistakes, it's never, ever too late to get on track for financial freedom. And you can do this and create your freedom much quicker than you ever thought. I hope you can also see that your financial freedom is significantly closer than you may have thought. And it's something that you absolutely can do, even if you're no good with numbers or you're on a low income or you're just terrified of making a mistake. This does not have to be a journey of sacrifice and penny pinching. In fact, it can be fun. It must be fun, and you can do it in your style because it's about having freedom along the way, free of financial anxiety and worry because you know what to do and you've got certainty that you are safe and secure not only now but also in your old age. You can, in a very short period of time, move from earned income to asset-generated income, just like Tex and Katrina and Maxine and so many others. This works. It's that simple. But this journey begins with you making that commitment. You absolutely have to make that commitment and then take conscious effort and action to make it happen. So the obvious question is, how soon do you want to start your journey to freedom? How soon? I'd love to know. Are you going to start this? And how soon are you going to start this journey? Because you've got 2 choices. You can do it the hard way. You can use trial and error and some of what I've taught you today, and you can try and figure it out on your own. And I just want to tell you, this is actually the very costly way because you've got to use your own time and your own money to figure it out. Or you can do it the easy way. You can use the step-by-step process that I've created for you, financial freedom, the process that created my own freedom and that of thousands and thousands of others. So what is Financial Freedom University? It's an online training program and a community. It's like a university degree that teaches you everything you need to know to become financially free, no matter your starting point. And it gives you a community and this environment and an ecosystem to support you in creating it. So whether you're deeply in debt, you're just getting by, you're already on your way, and you want to accelerate your journey, then Financial Freedom University is absolutely for you. Now, this will work for you even if you believe you're no good with numbers, even if you're currently in debt, if you're struggling to make ends meet, if you've got a pot of money to invest but you're afraid of getting it wrong, if you're time poor, no matter what country you're in and what currency you're in, this works. So here's just a few of the problems and the challenges that Financial Freedom University is going to solve for you. You're going to learn how to spend less than you earn so you can free up that money to invest in your financial freedom. You're going to learn how to stop working for money and instead how to get money working for you through assets and investments. You're going to stop being bamboozled by the banks and the financial industries and really have got an invested interest of keeping you enslaved and uneducated. And if you've got consumer debt, you're going to learn how to eliminate it quickly, how to put your debt blitzing on an absolutely automated way so that you're free of that debt forever and you stay free, because this is really key. You're going to learn how to overcome your fears about investing. You're going to learn how to make investment decisions with confidence and really have that peace of mind because you know what you're doing, how to get there, and why you're doing it with a comprehensive plan to create your freedom. And you're going to know what questions to ask and how to evaluate if an investment or product is good for you and your wealth so that you know with certainty that it's going to take you where you're wanting. So in phase 1 of FFU, you create your roadmap to financial freedom. You determine exactly where you are right now in your money world. You know exactly what you need to be in place to be financially free without having to work actively for income. And then you put together your step-by-step path to get you there, knowing the type of assets that you're going to use to fill your asset pots and increase the flow of income into your life. The tools and systems that will free you from your money worries so that you can enjoy the entire journey. So then we go on to phase 2, how to evaluate the asset, the returns and these assets, these investments that you already have, so you can know what to do with them, whether you leave them where you are, what are the costs on them, or what to do to transfer them so that you can actually liberate more of the money and get it working for you and not for somebody else. And you can also work out how they fit into your financial freedom plan. So you find those gems and know what to do with them. You also get really clear on your money flow pattern and plug those leaks and transform that. So as you start moving forward, all of your money doesn't leak out the back. So in phase 3, you create a surplus. This is where you become a brilliant value maker. And here's where we turn our attention to squeezing the juice and helping you get way more out of the money that's already in your life. This is about getting value. So many people don't understand the difference between cost and value. And this is really understanding that you, as a leader to your money, is about making sure you get value. Now, this is where so many people get caught into the cheap concept, and they buy a whole lot of stuff on a sale because they think they're saving money, but actually they're not getting value. And this is a key distinction. And this is where most FFUers find 15 to 20% extra money without reducing their quality of life. And you become a master conscious spender, really understanding that this is the greatest wealth creation tool ever. So you get massive value from every purchase. And in doing so, you actually lighten your load. So your time to get to financial freedom is much less. And here's also where you put your debt blitzing plan in place so you can free yourself of that consumer debt forever. So your compounding is no longer working against you. So, for example, Robin here, she had car loans and other loans, and she just shared with me, she said, I've just been watching Module 10 videos, and I just had to pause and tell you how much incredible value I've gotten out of Financial Freedom University and your instruction. And last week, I paid off a car loan that I didn't think I was even going to be able to start tackling for at least a full year. That was huge for me. When you start focusing on your money, when you understand how to put these in place, things just completely get transformed in your money world, and things happen so much quicker. And then we go into phase 4. This is about working your assets. Yeah, what to invest in and how. Perhaps you're going to learn how to do it in the most cost-effective way, really minimizing tax and maximizing your return. Understanding different things like when to use retirement funding pots, pensions, things like Roths and superannuations and 401ks and ISAs and tax-free savings accounts. Please don't let any of that jargon overwhelm you, because that's exactly what we teach you in Financial Freedom University in a step-by-step, jargon-free way, so that you can make more from your money. Not trying to get more money in, because remember we said that's the difference that makes the difference. The harder you can get your money working for you, the faster you achieve your freedom. You get the skills to evaluate and invest in the stock and property markets. You know where it fits into your plan and what to invest in and how to manage it safely and easily, plus how to automate it. So we start off by getting your index trackers in place and in this regular habit. So you start creating this habit and put it on autopilot so that you get off living your life. For example, Rihanna says she was so afraid of investing that it really paralyzed her. And she just shared that this was just a few months ago, she shared in the FFU community that she had just done her first investments, that with knowledge she was able to take a step that in the past she thought was scary and move past this paralysis, which is so important. So we move on to phase 5, and this is when we turbocharge those results. Discover different passive income businesses. There are literally thousands of ways that you can use systems and processes and tools. I gave you one example of tax with vending machines, but the internet has created unprecedented opportunity for you to create multiple streams of income coming to you without you having to exchange your life force. We don't know what we don't know, and this is so, so important. And this is what we cover in this phase. Plus also learning how to use leverage, how to use this good debt or expansion debt. We use borrowing to accelerate your freedom. So in phase 6, we get to staying the course. And it's really important that you understand that Financial Freedom University is not a one-time boot camp. It's not a couple of weeks that you learn something and then you go off and move on with your life. No. This becomes a way of life. You become an FFUer and you become part of a community where you get skills and training to make these wealthy habits. You get the mindset in place to make creating wealth and becoming financially free and being financially free second nature. This is such an important phase because this is where you continue to work your plan and you don't sort of go off track, where you've got mentors in the form of me, you've got fellow freedom creators and your fellow FFUers who really can help you stay the course, who can celebrate your victories and also help you get back on track if you do fall off. This is so important to have this community, and you're going to have access to me and this community for as long as you need it, which is really important. So you might be thinking, well, Anne, how quickly am I going to see those results? How quickly am I getting my return on my investments? Well, know this, magic happens when you start to focus on expanding your money and wealth creation, and you shift that focus from just trying to work harder to learning how to get money working hard for you. And this shift in attitude, and by having an actual guaranteed plan to create your freedom, brings you peace of mind instantaneously. And that's what gives you that freedom right now that Catherine described as we started this whole training today. As Anthony said, so Anthony's on our FFU, he says, good training doesn't come for free, simple as that. And if you follow Anne's instructions, as my wife and I did, we made more money in the first year than the entire course cost. So it's a no-brainer for us. We now own the knowledge that we've learned, and we get to use it over and over for the rest of our lives. And this is where we really start understanding how, ignorance is really expensive, because knowledge is an asset that just keeps earning and earning and earning for you. Okay, so let me share with you a little bit about Katrina's story. Katrina quadrupled her net worth. So remember, your net worth is that value of the assets that can earn that income for you in just her first year of working at FFU. She sat down and she shared this recently in our group chat. I sat down for my annual money date and I wasn't expecting anything spectacular. I knew I had worked on my net worth during the year, but I got a massive surprise. I quadrupled my net worth in the last year, which involved increases in my pension, my equities, that's the stock market investing, my savings, my properties. I decreased my debt. We've only got mortgages now, which are all leveraged and doing really well. I couldn't believe my eyes, and I redid the numbers a few times. And in doing that, my time to freedom had halved. This is the impact. It accelerates your time to freedom. She says, I'm still floating a bit on air and I can't believe it. I suppose I also wanted to say to anyone out there wondering, is it possible? I did this with only one salary in our household. I home educate our kids full time, and I put my business on the side last year so I could focus on my kids and FFU. However, FFU is something I do after bedtime mainly, and just a few hours here and there. And having seen the progress I've made this year with a small effort, I've set myself some lofty goals for next year. I want to step up a gear now that I've got all my basics embedded. Thank you, Anne, for being my guiding star. This is key. It just starts getting easier and easier and easier. And when you start seeing the impact and the impact of compounding, it really makes the difference. And Charlotte shared how in 18 months she cleared $38,000 in debt that was absolutely crippling her by putting in place her automated debt blitzing plan. And now the money that used to go to those debts can now go to creating assets and again accelerating her time to freedom. And Darren says this stuff is like gold dust. I've taken so much action in just a few days and it feels so different. I'm more positive around my relationship with wealth. Just freaking do it. So what's going to happen? So Financial Freedom University is a deep dive 10 module training program, and you also get 5 live training calls with me and Q&A, so we can go deep into all of these. And in every one of these modules, which cover these 6 phases, you have videos and audios and workbooks training so that you can consume them in your time and be supported around it in the way that best suits you. And so that is a cost $1,997. So then I thought, well, what else are you going to need? And I know how important it is for staying the course, creating this ecosystem of really, really supporting you on this journey. And so I'm going to give you a year's worth of live Q&A and mentoring for me. Now, please know this, I don't work with anybody one-to-one anymore, but when I did, the last person I worked with paid me $15,000 to work with them one-on-one on their strategy. And when I'm speaking around the world, I've just come back from Italy where I was doing a workshop for a group of women. I charge over $10,000 a day. And so this alone is a huge bonus because you get a world-class mentor by your side, making sure that you keep taking action, that you do not get stuck in inertia or analysis paralysis and you keep moving towards your dream. This is so important. You're not meant to do this alone, and you don't need to, because I'm going to be there for a full year answering your questions and guiding you. You know, Margaret said, you know, Anne totally over-delivered. And she shared how besides all the audios and the videos and the transcripts and all the tools that you get in FFU to reduce your debt and learn how to create assets, she said that live coaching was just invaluable. And she said she's now investing and she feels so much more confident. She said she had done many other finance courses, but this uniquely combined both the mindset and the support on the behavioral side with the tools and the training needed to create that solid wealth. And I think this is the real big difference that makes the difference and why we have such extraordinary success for FFUers in FFU. So that is a value of goes on $5,000. Now, what I'm also going to give you are 2 tickets to Financially Free You Live. This is an amazing 3-day workshop. This is where we roll our sleeves up and together we take your wealth to a whole new level. This is where the entire FFU community gathers. So our new FFUers and let's call it the FFU alumni, they come back year after year to this amazing event because we just go deeper and deeper. There's new strategy we learn and we really embed your freedom plan even further, but we work a lot on the mindset stuff. And so I'm going to give you 2 tickets to FFU Live. And now these tickets sell for $997, but I'm going to give you 2 tickets so that you can come with your partner, a friend, and somebody else to come along. Because remember we said the more you do this with others, they really can keep you on track and take action. So this is awesome training. And if for some reason you can't come to FFU Live, we also record the entire thing so you can revisit all that awesome training and sessions, or if you can't make it, you don't miss out. So you're going to get those training too. And we really have an extraordinary time at FFU Live. And so that itself is another $1,994. And knowing now, you know, the difference that the difference makes and what ensures that people create their freedom and don't sort of just take massive action and go, of course, is a community of like-minded people, a community of people that believe in your freedom even more than you do. Because initially when you start off, you might just still have that little seed of doubt, you know, is financial freedom possible for me? And when you're absolutely stuck in here, and getting the support is really, really key, that you have this community who will keep you on track. And they're going to share with you their successes and their struggles, and a place where you feel safe to do that as well, so you're not out there in the cold. And so you're going to get lifetime access to the financial freedom community. So for example, look at Jenny, and I'd just like to tell you, she says in this post, in this community we have, that all my lovely FFU buddies, how much I value the openness, the friendship, the questions and the answers, the wisdom, the support, and the love in this group. You know, I was just talking last night to a friend who is interested in joining FFU for this next intake, and I was recounting my experiences since starting last July, and it hit home to me that this is very unusual, if not unique. Such a lovely bunch of people, and this is really what supports you on your freedom. And you're going to get access to that, and that's a value of $997. So then I thought, you know, for so many people to go, and you know what, there just isn't any spare. I want to get started. I want to create these assets. So what we're going to do, I'm going to give you access to, and you're going to be part of the Squeezing the Juice 30-day boot camp. We're going to start this in a few weeks after Financial Freedom University. So we all come together, and this is a 30-day supercharged online challenge with all of your other FFU friends, but also other people can come in and join the Squeezing the Juice challenge. You're going to get this. And we go through this whole structured process of liberating money in your life. This is where you find that 15 to 20%. And many people get back their full FFU investment just in doing this, and actually much more. Because remember, when you save it, you don't just save it once, you save it over and over and over again. So I'm going to give you the 30-day challenge with that. So that is $297. And then one of the things that I know many people create is they actually have for so long suppressed their dreams. They don't know what it is that they really want because they've been living and using language like I can't afford it instead of how can I afford it, that they actually need to get clear of what the bleep do we really want anyway. And so I'm going to give you a training program, which is a fantastic process to get clear on what your rich, juicy life really is. And this really helps you with your conscious spending because you realize that you can stop spending money on stuff that you thought you needed to have because you thought that was wealthy, rather than implementing and spending a whole lot of money on what others want, and you can liberate this up. So this is so important of really getting clear of what a wealthy life is for you. And so you're going to get that program too, and that's $197 in value. Now, one of the huge barriers I've seen now, having helped over thousands of people create their freedom, is one of the biggest barriers that stop people either taking action or really learning how to invest is their money past, either mistakes they've made, or maybe they grew up believing having money was greedy or selfish or it's dangerous, or they've got cynics in their life that are telling them that they can't have it or that it's dangerous. And so shame and guilt and fear are the three powerful emotional barriers that really prevent big-hearted creators from experiencing the life they really want. And we've got a lot of people in society out there that almost shame people for wanting to dream, for wanting to have this, and really almost sort of go out their way as though they're going to stuck in their own pain, so they're going to keep people in it. So this is a really powerful training to free yourself up from any shame or guilt or fear around your money stuff, so you can really move forward and you can leave your old money trauma in the past. Or just need a bit of water there. So you're going to get that program too. And then the next one, for many solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, business owners, coaches, authors, maybe contract workers, part-time workers, stay-at-home parents, it might be inconsistent or variable income coming into your life can really be a barrier. They can believe that it's really hard to set up the automated money management system, their debt blitzing plans, their automated investment strategies, which rely on this regularity of their wealth habits of investing because of this variable income, and so prevents them moving forward. So this is such a sexy training, which shows you no matter what variation of how variable income comes in is how to smooth those waves so that you can actually create systems and processes which support you in creating your wealth and rather be paralyzed. And what's so cool, if you've got a business, this also can be applied in your business to smooth out variable income you might have in that place. So you're going to get that program too. So all of that, Financial Freedom University Live, all of the training, the modules in that, and all of the other bonus support and training programs, it's a value of over $10,773. So wow, that is huge. So now, if all it did was this, would it be worth that? If by doing that, it put an end to that more going out than coming in story forever so that you could actually start creating assets, would it be worth it? Would it be worth it to give you confidence of an investor versus just holding on and saving so that you actually get a place where assets earned income for you and created your freedom? Would it be worth it to be free of debt forever and knowing that you'll never ever go back into debt, and free of debt including your mortgage? And would it be worth it if it gave you a clear step-by-step plan from where you are right now to create your financial freedom? Absolutely guaranteed. Well, if it is, the great news is you're going to get $10,773 in value of training and support and mentoring, but it's absolutely not going to cost you that. You can join Financial Freedom University today and get all of those bonus trainings, that year of support from me, membership of the community for just $1,997 US. And that's a single payment. And when you go to the link that you can see on the presentation, there should be a button popping up, or you can go to the URL, financiallyfreeyou.com/webinar special. That'll show you what you can get plus your checkout, and you'll see that there's also an option for a convenient full pay plan if that feels more supportive for you. So you can choose the one pay option of $1,997 today, or a full payment option, and you can go and just click on that button and get started today on that. And so here's what's really important. So much about what I'm about Financial Freedom University, is ensuring that you become savvy about your money, but savvy about understanding what I've said, this conscious investing, making sure that you're getting maximum value. And so right now, I am going to want to know that you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. I call this my LSD guarantee. This allows you to come on board, join Financial Freedom University, get stuck in, do the training, start on those first modules. You can download them, the workbooks, the audios, the tools, listen to it, get engaged in the community, be on the live training calls, and you can really test FFU out for a full 30 days. This is your look, see, and decide. So you don't have to decide today. Rather decide with knowledge, decide on the inside. And so you can get started today. And if at the end of 30 days, you're not 100% satisfied, you don't actually convinced that you can create your freedom and that this program is going to give you all that you need and you're absolutely guaranteed on it, then all you do is drop us an email and we'll give you all your money back, no questions asked. And that is a solid, locked-in 30-day money-back guarantee. Because here's the thing. I'm about helping you transform your money world. This is why we have so many amazing FFUers get such extraordinary success, because this is about ensuring you have what you need. So if it's not right for you and you've decided, hey, you don't want to do what it takes to create your freedom, you just let us know. But make that decision on the inside, not sitting on the outside. So get stuck in. And this is why you must commit now. You can't just hope for financial freedom. You've got to claim it, as we already said earlier, and you claimed your freedom. Here's the thing. Time is one of the most important elements in getting assets working for you. You've got that seed of money, you've got time and the rate of return, but you can use it for or against you on this journey. And the beauty is you get to choose. The sooner you start, the sooner you get time and assets working for you. And it's never too late, but you must commit now and get moving. Because once you understand and you've been shown this world, it is your responsibility to get that money working for you, because you can no longer stay ignorant now that you've been exposed of what you need to do in order to create your financial freedom. Every day that you delay getting on track to your financial freedom, it's really costing you. So you must choose right now whether time is going to be your ally or your enemy. So jump on board. I can't wait to support you on this journey. And as soon as you click on that link and you get started, you're going to get access immediately to the training. So you can get started right away. You can get started today creating those assets. So jump on board. Just click that link and we'll get going. Now, the truth is you've already started this journey. You started this journey when you joined this training webinar. You actually started this journey when you first started earning some money. You started this journey when you first even realizing there was this thing that was money that weaves through every aspect of our life. But the challenge is many, many people just stay on this journey unconscious, never actually learning how to take control. And so they stay victims in their money journey, just unconsciously asleep at the wheel of their life and never learning how to take back control, how to claim back sovereignty over their life, and how to learn how to get money supporting to them and supporting them, an expression of their life. And so they stay enslaved, working harder and harder, hoping that somehow their future is going to be different, hoping that they're going to create their financial freedom. So I really hope that you choose to be awake and get on track and stay awake and really create this conscious, juicy, wealthy, amazing life. Because quite frankly, the world needs more conscious, big-hearted creators so we can transform this world for the better, and rather than just unconsciously stay victims to our ignorance and our poverty. So jump on board today, get started, and remember, you've got that 30-day guarantee, so you don't even have to decide. Make that decision on the inside, but get started and get supported, because your freedom is not going to wait. So we've got over 1,000 happy members inside of FFU who took that decision, chose to get inside, and then they stayed because they're creating assets. Take Stan and Nadia. Their story is actually amazing. They learned how to get control of investment property and invest in investment property actually in an auction strategy, which we teach in the property module, and how they could actually, buy property on auction, but without any of their own money, and a strategy to immediately sell it on. And they were able to, with just 8 months, were able to buy their dream home, not with a mortgage or a deposit down, but in cash, because of learning the strategy of what they could do. And this is the difference that knowledge takes. And they say your life will literally be poorer if you don't learn this stuff. And I know that because I just know the difference that this material makes in so many people's lives. And that's the difference that it made from Stan and Nadia. In just 8 months, they had their dream home from basically bought for them by their assets and by that strategy with no money of their own in. And Cara shared that before she joined FFU, she had her head firmly in the sand, and, money came in and out it went. And she really, didn't even know what to do with her money. And she started this journey, and she said it completely transformed her life. She identified debts that she had and how to destroy them. And she learned how to invest and set up savings and money dates. And she shares that she knows she's going to be financially free by 40. Absolutely amazing. Something that she didn't even know was possible for her before she started that journey. So you, like Stan and Nora and Cara and Katrina and Maxine and Natalie and Tex and all these thousands of FFUers creating their freedom, it's absolutely possible for you. So jump on board and get started today. Now, to really support you and to honor you for being on this webinar and for really taking action, so to make this a no-brainer, I'm going to give you an extra bonus training. Now, this is the Passive Investment Management Mastery School. Now, remember I showed you the difference that made the difference of 120,000 more earned by the money by investing in index trackers rather than actively managed funds? Well, this is a deep dive training program that teaches you exactly how to do that, but also goes further and teaches you how to feast off the pot. So if you're close to retirement, what do you need to do? How to structure your investments, how to put together portfolios to make sure your investment is safe, how to evaluate all the investments you have so that you know whether it's best to move, say, any superannuation or pension or retirement funding or a retirement annuity you might have across and get it working harder for you. This is a deep dive into this one asset class called stock market investing, just in what is called passive investments. Index trackers are also known as passive investments, and liberate you from that. And so this program sells for $747, but I'm going to give it to you when you join today from the webinar. So take that and let me really support you on this journey. So jump on today and you're going to get full FFU, all that support and training, the Q&A with me, the year of mentoring and support, the live training sessions, the membership of the community. There's 2 tickets to FFU Live, all those additional training programs and PIMS when you start today. So here's the thing. The only risk today is not taking action. As we've already seen, those people who say investing is risky, it's just not true. What is risky is never giving the knowledge, never having a structured plan, never moving forward and learning how to create assets that earn your income for you. Because the thing is, that is how you guarantee that you never, ever achieve financial freedom. Please don't let something important as your life just be left to risk and hope and prayer and hoping that somehow something will come along. Instead, take action, claim back your life, claim your freedom, commit to creating it just like you already said you do, and join me today. And as soon as you do, you're going to get access program and you're going to get access straight into the financial freedom community. So when you do, jump in there, say hi, and you're going to be amazed at just how supportive and generous they are with their learning, because they all know that we're better together, and that abundance is about when we all share our learning. And this is so important about breaking out of that scarcity mentality. So come on board, join this community and really get to meet your FFU family. So who is FFU for? Well, FFU ranges from, employees to self-employed to business owners to stay-at-home parents like Katrina. They are nurses and teachers and coaches and doctors and accountants and engineers. We've got actors, we've got authors, we've got painters, we've got writers, we've got quite a few Hay House writers like me in there. We've got creatives and mostly change makers. And they are women and men. Some are married, some are single, some have kids, others don't, some are fur kids. They also range in age from 17, that's our youngest FFU, to 74. That was her age when our oldest FFU joined FFU. That was 2 years ago. And they come from 48 different countries. And what they have in common is this deep desire to be free of financial limitations and worries and these restrictions, and this commitment to live their lives fully, authentically, and wholeheartedly, free of guilt and fear and shame and away from the cynicism and the skepticism in the world, but really claiming back their dreams and their freedom. And they know that with money supporting them, no longer suppressing them, is how they get to live the greatest, fullest version of their lives. So I really want that for you, and I can only support you when you join me in FFU, and that's how I can really support you to create this journey now. So jump on board. And as you do, I want you to just imagine creating the life and freedom you deserve. Imagine knowing that all of your financial needs are sorted, that living the lifestyle you desire is absolutely possible for you, and making money without you having to work for it, that you can be safe and secure in your old age, knowing that this money stuff is absolutely supported, that you can travel the world and soak up life experiences, you can contribute more to the things that you feel passionate about, and you can really get on with living life fully on your terms, being who you truly are. So jump on board today. You can either choose that single payment option, or there's a full payment option that you'll find on that page at that URL, www.financiallyfreeyou.com/webinar special. And I really hope to see you inside. So who are you going to be? Are you going to be nervous Nora? Are you going to stay on the outside just believing that this isn't possible for you? Or are you going to come on in and decide and be informed with knowledge on the inside, and so that you can be educated even and free yourself from financial limitations forever? I truly hope you're going to choose education rather than ignorance. And so let's jump on in and answer some of your questions and see what's going on. Okay. Cool. Okie dokie. Let me see your questions so we can get you working. I need to ask a couple of questions. Is there a chance to do that, please? Absolutely, Akasha. So there are two ways you can do that. We've got my amazing team, my support fairies waiting for you on the live chat. So if you actually click on that URL and that button on that page, you'll see a little live chat in the bottom, and Subongila can support you on that right now. So you can ask your questions. You can also put them in here. Okay, so I see there's so many questions going in here. So I think what's going to really help me, Diana, if you could, we've got the questions flagged up. So I'm just gone to some of the bottom. Let's see what we can cover so I can support you here. She says, Leslie Ann said, what are your views regarding paying substantial extra amounts per month on your mortgage versus paying only what is due each month, and rather than using the extra to invest as part of your financial freedom plan? Such a cool question. And now, Leslie, you're starting to ask quality questions. You're starting to understand that what creates our freedom is how hard our money is working for us. And so this really is important, that you need to put this in context of your full plan. And so in isolation of knowing, whether you've got debt, what assets you've already got, but at a simply put, often we're in a very low interest rate environment right now. And so in many countries, interest rates are very low on mortgages, but you can actually get your money earning way more for you by creating assets. So now, for example, if you're paying maybe 5% on your mortgage or a bond, and that borrowing on that money, but you can get your money earning and working for you at 15%, you get to keep the 10% difference. And this is instead, so you rather create the asset and let the asset pay off your mortgage. So you then become free of mortgage free, and you've got these assets, which even when your mortgage is paid for you, now keep earning more and more. And this is where you start understanding, my assets create my freedom. And we need to become really, asset lovers, and every day focusing on, have I created an asset today? What asset can I create through my knowledge, through skills, through my creativity, through systems and processes, knowing that there's no such thing as too small an asset, because they all add up. So a great question there, Leslie. Okie dokie. Let's see what's the next question. So Helena said, what do you do if you have debts to pay back? Well, Helena, what you do, and this is really part of the second step, which is taking stock, is seeing what debts you have, understanding the cost of those debts, what are interest rates, because this is so important that we get intimate with our money. So many people that I work with start off not even knowing what that debt is really costing them, and understanding what are the behaviors or the patterns that result in them going into debt in the first place. So this is all as part of that step 2. What are debts and how do you pay them back? And so this is, you then put a debt blitzing plan in place. And it's really important that you have an automated and a structured plan. If you try and, pay a little bit of debt off here or there, and you don't really know what you've got, and you don't know which debt you should focus on first, second, and third, you don't also understand how to snowball and and create this snowballing effect on paying off your debts, then you never break out of that debt pattern. So you create this automated debt blitzing plan and you put it on autopilot. And this is so important. And that's why we create this really early on in the financial freedom journey. Because now what you want to do is now shift your focus to creating assets. One of the reasons why many people who maybe free themselves from debt but just end up going back into debt is because they've never learned how to create a wealth pattern. They've never learned how to create assets. And so, energy flows where focus goes. So if you're only focusing on getting out of debt and not creating wealth, that is all you're ever going to get. And you just end up cycling round and around and around. So it's so important that you need to learn how to create the entire plan together and get moving forward. So if you're, waiting till you want to start until you got your money stuff a little bit more sorted, or you're waiting to pay for your debts, then please stop. That is one of the behaviors, that's one of the beliefs that's actually going to keep you stuck. It's really important to move forward. So great question, Helena. So Evangelina has said, how recent are the testimonials? Not certain about the property market at this stage. Okay, so Evangelina, what you can do, you can go and check out my blog site. And you can check out, we actually did with FSU is every year, people share some of their successes and in the community. And we did a video contest just a few weeks ago. And all of the testimonials I've shared are actually just from the last few months. So, because you say not certain about the property market. And so my challenge to you is, what do you know about the property market? Do you know strategies that you now can actually, whether you're in, if you're in South Africa, you can invest in the US. If you're in Australia, you can invest in the UK now through the advent of technology and things like blockchain and different leverage strategies that the internet is now enabling. You can safely invest in property, both growth and income property strategies in different countries without any of the currency risk, without having to have offshore accounts, without having to go to those countries. And most people have no idea what is possible because, again, one of the things, and I'm learning every day, because there's just this extraordinary world of asset-generated income. And there are so many property strategies. I call it the sort of Play-Doh asset group of the investment world, because most people don't realize just how many different things you can do with property. For example, doing things like Airbnb, low input businesses, where you can run an Airbnb business without even having to own any of that property. There literally are so many strategies there. So please everyone, just be really careful. One of the biggest barriers to our freedom is believing it's believing we know what we don't know. And that is one of our biggest barriers, is we don't know what we don't know. And without being prepared to explore and cover that, we never really get to see what that is. Okay, let's see a question. LZ has said, compounding is great to build your assets, but what happens when you start withdrawing from your assets, start living off your assets? You are then losing out on the compounding effect of that money that you would have had take out, you would have bought. So this is really key. So LZ, this is where a lot of people don't understand the difference between saving and investing. With investing, you actually never consume your assets. What you do when we put together your unique financial freedom plan, and that's why we use that right up front. You calculate what is your freedom income, so what is the income you're needing to live the lifestyle you want every single month, and then what is the net worth, what is the size, the value of your assets that will earn you the income. Is for that very point, you don't consume your assets, you consume the income and the growth that your assets create, and this is what ensures that you have a self-perpetuating feast. So we get caught into the savings mentality, thinking that we're stashing money away and then we feed off it, a bit like that bear putting the berries aside. But no, it's the squirrel. You actually plant the assets and you feed off the money that your assets create and never your assets. And that's why you then get to stay free forever, just like I am. Really key. And John said, sadly, that's true. I said, it's called retirement. Well, John, hopefully you can see, well, no, it's not the case. You know, when you have assets, this is how you also create intergenerational wealth. It's really, really key. Okay. So I've just seen here, how do I get my spouse on board? And I really want to jump on board, but I don't know how to get my spouse on board. Well, many FFUs start in exactly that place, starting this amazing journey, but locked in a less than nurturing money dynamic with their partner. And this is why in module 4 of FFU, there's a lesson on how to get your loved ones on board and supporting you to achieve your freedom. Plus, that's also why I give you 2 tickets to Financial Freedom, well, to FFU Live, that live event. Plus, you can actually work with your partner, and I encourage you to in FFU. But it's really important that you be the change. So often we go, and I would do something, but my kids, my partner. And this is a very convenient way for us not to take responsibility because we wait for somebody else to do something. But that's not being the master of our own ship. A recent survey reported that nearly half of the population in a relationship say that they argue about money, and that money stress is often a major factor in why couples split up. Well, it was in my own first marriage, and that is why I'm so committed to help people transform their relationship, firstly with money and themselves, so that they can have this far more empowered relationship in their lives, be it with their parents, their siblings, their intimate partner, their children, so we can transform this side. Because here's what's so crazy, is that money is such a great opportunity for you and your partner to draw closer, to get really clarity on what is it that you're wanting to experience in this life. Where do you want to direct your money? What are you wanting to create? And when you have a structured system and process in order to enable you to get clear on that, and a mechanism of how to actually have those empowered money conversations, you're going to be amazed at how it creates this intimacy in your life. And you're going to be amazed how that stress just transforms. But you can't wait for your partner to give you permission and wait for your partner to get this, because many of us, can, and I say us because I've become, aware that there are areas of my life where sometimes it's easier to sort of almost be the victim and go, oh, well, I would if, my staff or my dog or my husband would do something different. But in fact, that's just giving our power away. We have to be the change that we want to see in the world. And that means committing to do whatever it takes to start the journey, even when we don't have those around us supporting us. And when we start making the change, that's how you bring them on board. And that's how we change the world with real empowerment. Okay, Cassia said, this is all great, but when do we start discussing investment strategies? Well, that's exactly what we've done. We've done just that. So Bree says, passive funds do great in rising markets, but my research suggests that active funds can also reduce the losses in falling markets. It's just knowing which active managers to use. I think, Bree, I think there's lots of fierce debate, but what I can tell you on my own journey, and now having been an investor for 22 years, I can hand on heart say actively managed funds, it's almost impossible to consistently get actively managed funds to outperform the index, because you say it's just knowing which actively managed managers to use, but year on year they're not the same managers that actually outperform the market. And this is whether it's John Bogle, Warren Buffett, pretty much any money guru out there now pretty much are unanimous in saying passive funds consistently outperform actively managed funds. And by having a systemized process in place is how you guarantee your money is growing. Because actually in falling markets, what is so great, you start realizing, and we have to shift our way of view, you actually get more for your money. But what is more important than whether it's an active fund or a passive fund is understanding how to put a structured portfolio together. And that's what we deep dive in PIMS. We also cover it in Financial Freedom University, but we go even further in the PIMS program, which you're going to get in when you join Passive Investing today. Okie dokie. So what else have we got? Let me just see. Di, if you could just flag up. Okay. Let's see. Blaze, I'm so grateful for communities like these that allow us to make informed decisions. Absolutely, Blaze. And it's so important that we surround ourselves with people who do make informed decisions, because so many people, when it comes to their money, they end up hanging out with people who are poor. And this is like, taking your fitness advice from the person, super fat and you've got no energy and exercise while eating their donut. And most people do this with their finances because it makes them feel safer. Okay, Let's see, what have we got? Some questions, Di. Let me so Blaze said, is there a payment plan for FFU? There absolutely is. So Blaze, if you click on that link that you can see on the webinar and that URL, let me see, do I have it? Where is that URL? There we go, financiallyfreeyou.com/webinar special. You will see on that page there's a button that says, would you prefer a payment plan? You can click on that and that will give you all the details of the payment plan. Okay, Alexandra says, I'm a complete novice and apologize if it's a silly question, but do you pay taxes on your assets in the forms of stocks and shares? That is not a silly question at all, Alexandra, and I'm so glad you've asked this. And this is so important because so often we've been shamed into feeling, oh, we should know this stuff and silly questions so we don't speak up. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to honor you for that. And that's why it's so important you have a safe place to ask these questions. So you do pay taxes on assets, whether it's income from property investment, whether it's from passive generated businesses, but also from income generated from stocks and shares. So now remember, stocks and shares, owning equity is also called, this is your first asset class where we put in place this automated investment plan. You can earn, your wealth grows in two ways. Your stocks and shares earn income for you in the form of dividends. So this is where essentially you're owning a slice of a whole lot of companies, great companies around the world. And when they make profits, they share those profits with you as a shareholder and distribute them to you. And so you then earn that income. But also the shares grow in value. As the company grows in value, as the company gets bigger, your share gets worth more. So you've got growth and income, and that's how you grow your wealth. Now, this is where it is so important to understand what I call your tax efficient pots. So knowing how do you protect your assets from tax, because the more money that you can get to stay in your life and go on to buy more assets, the faster you're going to accelerate your time to freedom, because every little penny, every rand, every euro, every dollar, every Aussie dollar absolutely counts. So when you start putting this plan in place, it's really important that you first use your tax protected accounts that are available to you in every single country. So for example, Alexandra, I don't know what country you're in, but let's say you're in the US. That most countries have two tax efficient pots, types of accounts in which you can do your stock market investing in. And one is called tax deferred and the other is tax protected. And both of these, the governments have in place to incentivize you to take responsibility and look after your own financial well-being. And it's so important you understand how to use these. So that would be, for example, a 401k or an IRA, and then a Roth, which is a tax protected pot if you're in the US. If you're in Canada, that's your retirement funding, but also your tax-free savings account. Your tax-free savings account is which is similar to a Roth, which is the same as an ISA, which is similar to the tax-free savings account in South Africa. You put post-tax money in, but all of your dividends and your growth on those stocks are protected from tax. So more money works for you. So it's so important. This is how knowledge creates your freedom, not having to put more and more money in. So a super, super question there. Okay, what have we got? Diana says, Akasha asks, I live on a UK pension, and after money to the joint pot, I would have around £100 per month that I could invest. Would that be enough? Absolutely. So what is so cool is one of the big myths that people have is they think that you need a lot of money to start investing. Not at all. So just in index trackers, you can start investing in a great round, what I call your home country. You would start with a core index tracker. You're in the UK. So that would be in your market. So it would be something like the FTSE 100, the FTSE 250, or the FTSE All Share. The FTSE just means the London Stock Exchange. And you can put a regular investment into that from just £25 a month. So with £100, you can actually have a diversified portfolio of 4 different index trackers. But I also want you to know that, Akasha, you can also create assets just with knowledge, just with skills, just that it doesn't require any money in from you at all. You know, I shared with you Max's story. I shared with you Stan, how I did that in property. But there are multiple ways you can do that. So you can put an automated investment in place and then get these other assets growing for you. So a great question. And knowing that, so that's from $40 US a month, 40 Oz dollars, from 300 Rand a month, you can put in place this automated investment plan, which gets your assets working for you. Okay. Okay, so Akasha says, I'm 65 and I only have a maximum of £3,000, which I've earmarked for funeral expenses. I'm keen to change this. And if I use 2,000 for the course, I have 1,000 left and around 100 per month left from a UK pension. Can I make this work for me without investing in property? My husband is very against me using my money. So here's the really important thing, Akasha. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, David, my cat is hungry. Well, she's actually shouting. She wants to be involved in this. And it's about understanding how to get more from your money, about how to liberate and how to free up what your expenses. So well done for already having what I call a cash safety net in place. Though you said you've earmarked it for funeral expenses, I want you to consider that actually, what we do when we design your financial freedom plan, we go firstly is about having an emergency fund so that you can rest and know if something were to happen to you, or if something happened, you don't have to use debt or go to that. And so then we look at a cash safety net. So it looks like what is so great is you already got some of that. So we look at a cash safety net is using that initial money. Now with that £100 a month, absolutely you can expanding it. Now what I don't know, Kasha, is what is your UK pension? Where's it coming from? Can you move that as well? Are you already taking an annuity, or whether you can transfer that to get that pension working even harder for you? So in the UK, you've got a lot of discretion over your pension monies. You can move it into a self-invested personal pension, so you can actually get the money you already have. So this is really key in that stock-taking phase. So you said, my husband is very against me using your money. So Kasha, you need to feel into that. I don't know your relationship, but you've also got to go, what is true for you? What are you wanting from your world? And you need to make that decision. And remember, you can pop inside, you can check it out for 30 days. And if it doesn't feel right for you, you just drop us an email and you can switch on that point. Okie dokie. Wow, wow, wow. I just see the time. I just want to honor you for all being here. So many of you are still on this call, and I just really want to encourage you to come and check it out. And I just want to say that one of the most important things is that you make a decision. It really doesn't matter to me if you choose to invest in Financial Freedom University or you find another way to become financially free. But I just want to remind you that you've made a commitment to create your freedom. You've made a commitment to live your juiciest life. So it really does matter that you make a decision about it before it's too late, and that you no longer have a choice about and this opportunity to create freedom. That is the thing that just day by day we go, oh, well, I'll just wait and see. Maybe next week, maybe next year, maybe when things are sorted, maybe when I've got my husband on the side, maybe when I'm earning a little bit more money, I'll put it off. Then I'll wait. But this is the tragedy, which we get trapped into the when-then game. And the truth is, when never comes. We all only have today. So please make a decision about how you're going to do this. Make that commitment. And don't let this be just one more thing you're going to think about, because nothing is going to keep you from your freedom than by delaying decision. So trust that. If it's a yes, go for it. Join me. If it's a no, trust that and move forward in a different way. But what is really important is that you make a decision and get off the fence. There's nothing worse than being on the fence of indecision. It's like sitting on a barbed wire fence, and it really, really isn't great. And so if it's a yes, secure your spot now. Really trust that, get your PIM special bonus and all the other support you have, and let that support you. And we'll move forward on that. So I really hope to see you inside Financial Freedom University, but it doesn't really matter what it is. But I just really want to know that you are committed and you're going to make that plan work for you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for committing to your freedom, and trust that and move forward. Great. So Fiona said, can the payment plan be extended? We've had quite a few people asking us about that, Fiona. So we're going to look into that, and please just keep an eye out. We're going to see what we can do to extend that payment plan. So just let Sibongile know on that live chat facility on the question. She'll take a note of your name so we can get back to you on that question. And Blaze has said, what's the deadline for payment for FFU or PIMS? I'm going to definitely enroll in one of them, but just not now, maybe a week from now. So just know that how FFU works is as I say, enrollment opens just once a year because there's this whole year where I support you. But remember, as an FFUO, you have access for life and you can redo the live training over and over. So enrollment is closing, registration is closing on Saturday night, and then we get stuck in. So your first module is really waiting for you, and then we have our first live training call in about, I think it's in about 10 days time from now. So we move forward on this. And so this is the only time that you can get into Financial Freedom University. Now, PIMS, on the other hand, is available for you. You can buy it from the website. You can see it's $747. But remember, you're going to get that for free today when you join FFU. And so this, to me, it's an absolute no-brainer. If you're wanting to create this change in your life, really make that decision and don't delay, because truth is, we get back into our lives, we get caught up by what's happening in the world, and before we know it, another week, another month, another year has passed, and we've made no progress on our freedom, and I really don't want that to happen for you. So I'm going to end up now. Jump on board. I can't wait to see you on the inside and support you on this amazing journey. And Cynthia says, thanks so much for the encouragement, and I look forward to joining you. Brilliant. So bye for now, everybody. We're going to end that.